Should we title session 54 the session before the whole party died?
It'd be fine. What we'll do with that there. Cool. Yeah, last session. We picked up with you accompanying Zerviel the Uniter, Murdry Tinkerrock, and two members of their the crew of their ship, which they used to transport you to Shate. Travelling across the deserts of Shate on your way to the city of Aberhan, where Zerviel has told you that one of these rings can be found. As you were on your way there, Zerviel disappeared on saying he was going to look ahead on a scouting trip, essentially. And you were interrupted by two kind of unknown elemental creatures. Seemed to be some kind of like heat-based elementals, which relatively short combat, but did quite a lot of damage actually around the party. Upon Zerviel's return, you were told a story, sort of folk tales of the actual desert itself protecting the city of Aberhan, and that it previously sort of aided in defending the city from attacks and invasions. As you made a stop a few hours, about 2 hours away from the city itself, Zerviel had a confrontation with Murdry, where Zerviel demanded quite strongly of Murdry to use Murdry's connection to the Illithid based on his previous Garbinoidation, and to ask them about the ring. The response was not something Zerviel was happy with. The Illithid essentially taunting and mocking Zerviel. This raised Zerviel's anger, and bruised his ego, maybe. At that point, he told yourselves and Murdry that the plan was to raise the city and burn it to the ground, essentially.
Yeah.
As this rage continued, Zerviel flew off on the Sand Dragon Leo and left you as a group. During this whole confrontation, Nyx had actually also. So not Nyx, as well as Nyx already being outside of Z's thrall, charm, command. Jahan had a bit of a realization that this situation was not right. Jahan suddenly had recollection of everything that had happened, but rather than believing this to be right and correct and what he wanted, all of a sudden he was aware of his that he'd been under some kind of effect. And after a brief discussion between the two, via Dispel Magic, Jahan was able to go round and dispel and break this control on each of the other members of the party. At which point you had a discussion on what the best next steps were, eventually coming to the decision that you would go to Aberhan and go to the city before Z could get there to warn them of what was coming and to try and gain possession of the ring yourselves, possibly. You told Murdry that you had possibly seen Tondrafsil, the ancient blue dragon who protects the city, and that you wanted to avoid basically Aberhan or their own forces getting the drop on you. And via some war horses, you made your way across the deserts towards the city. Everybody back under their own control.
Or so we think.
Or so you think. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so we pick up with your group riding across the sands. You can see the city up ahead of you. The city is just sat at the base of a mountain in the desert. You can see the city is. Sorry, can I have 1 second? I can hear Lizzie crying. I'm not sure what's going on. It's going to be 1 moment. Sorry. Sorry, folks. Lizzie's accidentally drawn on her desk, and she's not happy about that.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you accidentally draw on your own desk. It seems like something you've
Impressive.
done and regretted, but yeah. Sorry, where were we? The city sits at the bottom of this mountain. The city is a walled city, but you can kind of see all the various twinkling and lights of the city. It's quite a large place. It looks like even as you're sort of arriving, just before 11 p.m., you can there's quite a lot of life going on. You can also spot slightly raised up above the city, sort of on the mountain itself. There's another set of lights based off the map Zeviel essentially drew in the sand for you previously, giving you a layout of the city. This is the military barracks of the city. Actually sits up on the mountain itself, kind of giving a view out across the desert, out to the horizon. You continue riding across the sands, and all of a sudden, there is a quite a large shadow, sort of like just a large shape, like a shadow shape, comes out from, sort of reaches up from over the top, the peak of the mountain up ahead of you. You see this large sort of winged shape sort of comes down, swoops down over the city, and very quickly, it's almost sort of as you're riding towards the city, it starts almost just beelining in the same direction as you.
Oh shit.
In the darkness, as it gets closer to you, it takes a moment or two for each of you to pick out the details as this shape charges towards you, and then you recognise the shape, and then quite quickly recognise the colour. This large, ancient blue dragon swoops down towards you. The sand around you starts kicking up dust as its wings beat. It almost dive bombs straight towards you, and the sand just whips up all around you, and then this dragon just carries on straight past you, almost as if you're just irrelevant to it. You are just but specks in the desert. The sand where you are sort of kicks up. The horses they stop briefly and sort of kick up and come to a halt. And you turn, you see the dragon just carries on, goes straight out past you, and just carries on in the direction you have come from.
Close one. What do you reckon he's after?
He's going to find.
What is you guys want to carry on the direction you're going and head towards the city?
I think we have to, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but what do we tell him if he asks us what we're doing out here?
Who?
Z.
If we see him, we kill him.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And it's not Z, it's the Uniter.
Yeah, right, yeah, we can try it, I suppose, but I don't know. Do you reckon we can do it?
Yeah.
All right, then.
I think we got close last time.
Cool. You guys all happy carrying on there towards the city?
Yeah. Yeah. No intention of stopping.
Yeah, you see this ancient blue dragon just continues off into the distance, out across the sand in the direction you've travelled from. Yeah, you sort of gather the horses' sort of attention, get them back under your command, and carry on towards the city. As you near the city, there are two entrances to this to the city. There is, according to the information Z gave you, there are two entrances. There is the can I not ping on this map? How strange. I see. There is on this side over here. You have what is what's called the market and traders entrance. And is sort of the general sort of anyone's entrance, and then over on the east of the city you have what is known as the farmers entrance. This is used by the local camel farmers. They let their herds out into the desert during the day and then usher them back into the city at night. You're sort of beelining quite central currently. You kind of have your choice of which route you would prefer to take.
It's more likely that it's nighttime, right?
Yes.
Neither of these are going to be busy, I'd assume, at night. Can we see light from where we are at either of the entrances?
As you're heading in currently, you can see some of the lights twinkle. As you're getting quite close to them, a lot of the lights you can see from a distance have sort of disappeared behind the walls as you've sort of come closer. Over towards the farmer's entrance, you can actually see you can tell from where you are now, there's almost like a shanty town set up outside. You can see some lights coming from this sort of quite relatively sizable collection of buildings outside of the city itself.
That sounds like we could get lost in that or slowed down by that. In my opinion, guys. We've got to get through a shanty town before we get to the gate.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's in front of the traders' entrance, is it?
Farmers
entrance.
Gate, yeah.
So let's go for the traders' gate then.
Yeah.
It's closer to the side of the city we probably want to be on anyway. This looks like the fancy building.
Presumptuous. Yeah, you you start heading over towards that gate. You reach the gate, and as you get there, the gate is open. It looks less of a physical gate. It's just this large. There's essentially like an archway in these large walls around the city. And as you get there, you can see there's a group of guards. Looks like about 6 as you approach. They are armed. They're like armored. You can see they have scimitars at their sides. But they don't. It doesn't look like a checkpoint. People aren't sort of being checked as they come in or leave or anything. It looks like it's sort of monitored, but not necessarily. Like there's no kind of enforcement. It looks like it's just an open entrance. As you sort of near on your horseback, there's no initial reaction. You see one of the guards looks up in your direction. They see you coming, but there's no sort of reaction initially. As you approach and get close enough to get like a clear line of vision, you see all of a sudden there's some pointing. And one of the guards is sort of pointing towards your group, and you can see start speaking to a couple of the other guards. One of them calls out and sort of motions for you to sort of slow down with the horses, and points over and says, "Humans in Abahan, what brings you here?"
We need to speak with your commander.
Alongside him, another one of the guards actually steps forward and says, "I'm the sergeant of this watch. How may I be of assistance?"
Is he on foot or on horseback?
Yeah, they're on foot, all of these, yeah.
Or Carl will dismount
Mm-hmm.
and walk over to him. What's the big city called that we've come from?
The one you've came from, Karnusk.
Karnusk. Have you heard that Karnusk has fallen?
And you see, he sort of looks at you for a moment. You can see he's clearly trying to get a bit of a read on you. And he responds, "We know the High Lord was murdered, if that's what you mean."
And his place has been taken by an entity styling himself the Uniter.
An entity?
It's something taking humanoid form.
You see one of the guards. You can almost see there's like a sort of bit of muffled laughter, almost like a reaction to this claim. This same one that's speaking to you, this sergeant. You can see that he seems interested to get some more information. At least he sort of has quite a visible reaction as you begin telling this tale. And he asks you, this entity, what form does it take?
A half drow. Yeah, the form of a young half drow. They ride a dragon.
You'll forgive me. You'll forgive me for identifying your clear Austral accent. What is your business? What is your interest in this entity?
they have killed people that were close to me, but more they threaten the entirety of Thentos. And tonight they say they're coming for your city. We came to warn you.
Carl, can you make for me a persuasion check?
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
It turns out I can.
Nice. Yeah, you deliver this message with clarity, sincerity. You can see, despite the sort of muffled laughter reaction from one of these guards, this sergeant who's listening to you clearly takes some kind of heed from the warning you're giving, sort of pays some attention. He you can almost see, as you're sort of delivering more of this information, that his interest or trust in these events you're relaying kind of begin to grow. He says to you, and you bring this news to Abahan. Why?
Because Abahan lies in their path.
And you know their intentions?
Yes. We know that this is where they're coming next.
You'll forgive me for inquiring how you would know the intentions of this enemy.
Oh, that's simple. They told us.
They told you and sent you as warning?
I followed them as their lieutenant. And until a few hours ago, I was ready to revel in the destruction of your city.
You can see there's quite a visible change in facial expression to this.
But there has been enough destruction and enough death. Karnusk fell, as I understand it, in a matter of hours. Without warning, so will your city. Without preparing, so will your city.
So we are to take the words of a betrayer. We can discuss the validity of your claims later, but for now it sounds like this is of great importance. To whom do you come here seeking? Or is your role to just deliver this message and walk away back to your lord?
He is not my lord. We come to deliver the message to whoever would listen whoever can do something about it. What happens to us after that is unimportant.
Lord Ilianos should be given the opportunity to hear your warning and decide for himself on how much trust we should put in Austriel. And he turns the rest of this group of elven guards. He points at two of them and says, "You two to come with me. The rest of you stay here. Keep an eye out for any other unknowns entering the city. We should be wary."
You'll see him. You'll see him coming.
You can see one of the guards looks over towards you. And then this sergeant says, I'll lead you to Lord Ilianos. The Emerald Palace will, I'm sure, open its doors even at this time of night for a message of this importance. And he begins, him accompanied by two of these other guards, lead you through the gates and into the city. As you enter the city, you find quite a lively city actually. As you arrive, you head up initially, up through this area. There's looks like a general, looks like a sort of almost like I guess like a high street, a main street. There's a number of sort of buildings you can see, look like businesses, shop fronts on the sides as you sort of head up. He leads you up along one of these main roads up through the city. As you sort of reach this area, the buildings start to get a little more packed in, a little less sort of commercial, more residential. It's not quite a shanty town, but it's certainly not the grandest of living conditions. Even for some of the rougher areas of Griffinsteel, this would kind of be a little considered undesirable. Leads you up further into the city, and as you reach here, you can see this large walled structure to your right, sitting up on the hill here. You can also see there's a large sort of lake in the center of the city. You can see there's an island sat in the middle of this lake, with what looks to be, from where you can see, there are 5 large turrets reaching up quite high. From where you are, you'd estimate probably at least 4 or 5 stories tall. This is quite a large building over on this island in the middle. You get led up this pathway here towards this walled structure. And as you get there, you can see this is clearly some kind of palace. This is very lavish. You sort of enter into some very extremely well maintained like gardens. Looks like there's no kind of like, it's not like gated or locked off. It looks like this is a publicly accessible area, despite it clearly being some kind of sort of palace. There are a few elves just spotted around, but you assume to be locals. People seem to just be sort of sat in the gardens of this palace. Looks like it's kind of like just available for public use. Excuse me. Let me have a look. Where are my notes? This sergeant that's led you up leads you leads you through the gardens, and another guard sort of he stops and speaks to another guard, and they tell you you have to leave your horses here, but we can take good care of them.
Aren't they magic horses? Won't they just disappear?
I believe so, Elwyn.
Sure, I was muted. Yeah, they're magical, so they go over now, so I'll just get them to disappear.
You just go do it now to get them to go, yeah?
Yeah, I'll just like, don't worry about it, and I'll just do that, and they'll just disappear.
And you can see there's maybe not shock, but there is a little bit of surprise from the elves here. And the sergeant quite quickly interrupts and says, "There's no time for this. We must speak to the Lord Ilianos immediately." And this other guard that he's speaking to sort of dashes further inside the palace, and you get led in. Looks like the actual palace itself, the building, isn't open to the public like the gardens are. You get led in, and you're taken quite quickly to a small room inside of the palace. You wait only a couple of minutes, about 3 minutes, at which point two armed elven guards walk into the room. Behind them is a very tall, very slim, slender elf. He has this really sort of long, shoulder-length, perfectly straight grey hair. Very almost expressionless. If there was an expression, it could be best described as sullen, I suppose. He walks in silence. And he takes a seat at this long table inside the room, and he gestures for the doors to be closed. And the two of these guards close the doors. And this elf, he sits silent and he looks across the room at each of you. And he quite slowly sort of peers around at each, taking in your features. And then he speaks quite quietly, almost mumbly. And he speaks to you. There's almost like a lack of emotion in his tone, as he just asks you, "It has been the best part of 300 years since anybody from your free nations stepped foot in the city of Abahan. I'm told by my sergeant you have arrived here as friends, with a warning of a great trouble. You must excuse me for having my doubts about warnings of trouble from the brethren of those that killed so many of our own. Speak."
Anyone else want to say anything?
Oh, I assumed he was talking to you because he was talking about brethren or people that killed his brethren, and that ain't me.
Ain't me
I'm
either.
a good boy.
Oh, it's one of his brethren. So it's obviously you, Carl, he's talking to.
And then
Killer of elves.
I'll look
Also
over
not
it.
me.
Look at it. Yeah, John, who's half elf, is that
Half
right?
elf.
Half elf. On my
Yeah.
mother's side.
Assassin that probably did kill a lot of elves.
Just to be clear, we are not here representing Austral. I very much doubt that Austral cares what happens to you.
Then we share in our doubts.
I'm here, we're here, because we've seen what the Uniter has done to Karnusk. And he has told us what he intends to do here.
and your uniter, he is responsible for killing the High Lord?
We don't know actually.
Oh yeah, Cole just sort of looks at him.
No, he wasn't.
I don't know.
No? Do we know
do
that?
know. We do know who killed the High Lord. We met him.
You know who killed the High Lord.
Yeah.
I ain't got a fucking clue.
I was there, you know. I was there the night the High Lord was murdered. And I heard the whispers amongst his guards that night. Before they ushered us all to leave, told us that the High Lord had succumbed to a situation, as they put it. I heard them whisper. They spoke of a murderer wearing the mark of your empire, human. And now you expect to arrive here with what appears to be the stragglers of my kin to gain my favour, my belief in your stories and your warnings. He turns and he looks at you, Jahan, and then at you, Elwyn. He says, how muddied our bloods have become when we align ourselves with those that would kill our own.
I believe it wasn't a human that killed the High Lord.
And your belief, sir?
The information I've gathered, it was of a Slard race that killed him.
A Slard. You
Slard
believe
that can change his appearance.
a shape-shifting Slard decided to infiltrate the High Lord's party on the finest night of the year and kill him for what reasons?
From my understanding, a lot of money because he's an assassin, from what I guess.
And you know this how? You move in some shady circles, I assume.
I've found rumours of different things. I like to share my knowledge with other people. They can decide to believe them or not. It is up to them.
And tell me, I sense age and experience in you. Why do you arrive here today in this city, accompanied by what I can only assume to be 3 humans?
I believe I've seen enough death in my lifetime to witness more.
And he hears this response and he turns back. He looks at you, Nix. Your friend here thinks he understands what enough death is. You're from Austria, yes? You come from one of the 3 nations.
Yeah.
Your founder, the war hero, did he know what enough death was when he cursed everyone of our kind? Was that enough? When it reached a certain number, did that satiate his hunger?
I mean, I don't know, but I, if it makes you feel better, I don't really like what he did because it didn't feel needed.
It's easy with the passage of time to wipe our hands of our ancestors' choices, but some stains run deep. And you He looks over at Jahan. You stay strangely quiet. You have a muddied origin, judging from your appearance.
Well, frankly, Sir Lord, what is it I caused you? Sorry, I don't know.
Lord will suffice.
Right, frankly, Lord, I'm still struggling to get my head around all this, to be honest, because I've only just really met these fine folks around me, and well, yeah, I don't really know. I mean, it's all very big. I'm just a little man stuck in a very big story. And as for muddied, well, I don't really know where I come from. No one really told me. I was just sort of stuck in an orphanage, and oh yeah, probably muddied. But I don't really see it as that. People's are people's, isn't they? Doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, as long as you're a good person, then you're fine with my books.
You see, he sort of looks you up and down, and he stops, and he turns back to you again, Carl. So, what am I to do with your warning? We prepare for the arrival of the armies of Karnusk? Or just one lone drow?
It's not an army. It's one entity in the form of a drow riding a dragon.
This entity, your former commander, I am told. It chooses our city now. Why?
Kanusk has already fallen. There is some power here that they want. And really, I think because he wants to destroy something.
And I'm told your belief is this entity intends to roll this destruction across everything.
First, the 5 tribes of Shate, and then the rest of Thentos. And from what I've seen, if they're not stopped, that's what they're going to do.
The desert itself protects the city of Abahan. Our ancestors' blood lies soaked in the sand around us, beneath our feet. This desert made itself our home, chose us. No one entity can pose a threat to Abahan. This is a city that has never been conquered and cannot be conquered. Your entity can come, bounce off of our walls, and if this entity is lucky, it will avoid being food beneath Tondrafil's feet. And then your entity can take their war elsewhere and let the humans of your nation wither and die as their war hero afflicted upon us. You'll be forgiven if the threats outside of these walls do not hold much pull.
You have so much in common with the leaders of Austral. I wonder if the hate on both sides is because they're looking in a mirror. But if you let the Uniter within sight of your walls, your city will fall. And it will fall with you destroying it.
He stops. He listens to what you say. He looks over at Arthur. He nods in your direction. You've been most quiet, Paladin. You think I do not recognise the symbols of the Thanda? What is your role in this? Why does a follower of the God of Light bring this warning?
Because this Uniter poses a threat to all the gods and to all the people. And I've been tasked and sent to ensure that they're dealt with. This is the next step in that task.
So your group, what would you have me do then? How should we prepare for this entity's arrival?
Well, sir, I would save your seat if I could. If I was you, that is. I wouldn't want to be responsible for thousands of deaths. Not on my conscience, no.
You see, he looks over this sergeant that led you in. He looks over at the sergeant. Has there been any reports of entities on the horizon? No, sir. We've had no unexpected no unaccounted comings and goings this evening until this group arrived. Tonjafsil went out to hunt, as he normally would. We have seen no other activity. There is, if you'll forgive me, no entities, sir.
You mean to say that there is possibly the most dangerous individual that the world may have ever seen, at least in current times, 2 hours outside of your city, and your greatest defense, this dragon, is not currently here?
Lord Ilianos responds to you. Tondrasil has stood, watched over and protected our people for generations. A beast like that it's not a plaything. It is not some mere familiar. We do not command Tondrasil. Tondrasil is nature's weapon. Tondrasil is of ancient origins, before your free nations, before your empire, before the tribes of Shate. We do not command Tondrasil. Unless you feel you want to give Tondrasil commands.
I'm thinking something different here. We could have another different issue. What if while your Dragon Tronsil's out there, the other dragon turns up, there could be a massive battle going on.
You will understand. Currently, we have 5 people arrive at our gates, claiming a threat on the horizon which we see no signs of. We know no details of, and you believe is coming here because you decided in the goodness of your hearts to turn your back. You must think us fools to believe you could arrive and dictate to us how we operate in the city of Abahan. Tell me, have each of you been truthful since your arrival?
I've
Do
not
any of
said
you-
one lie.
Not word of a lie, no, sir. Lord, sir.
None of you have a secret? A reason?
Paul looks over at Arthur.
A reason for your arrival?
Not me, sir, no.
Then I imagine if you come here with such noble purposes and with truth in your hearts, you would not object to a test of your claims and your beliefs and your strength of heart.
That's the way, but be bloody quick about it.
Yeah, sir, with all due respect, sir, if you're not going to be saving your city, I would like to get out of it before it's burnt to the ground. I'm rather keen on living. Don't mind helping, but as long as you got a chance of you seeing tents and all that, I don't mind.
He looks over to the sergeant. And he says the Order of the Magi. They will be able to determine the validity of these claims and the true meaning for this warning.
Oh, I forgot you have a group of magic people here, don't you? They mentioned them.
They could be handy in a fight.
The Order of the Magi is no simple magic group.
Are they a group of people that are able to use magic?
And do they follow the genie?
Genie?
That feels like that's a very different story. We don't need to go into that, surely.
The Order of the Magi is the home to all knowledge of the arcane. We have the greatest users and manipulators of magic anywhere on this plane.
I watched this entity kill someone with a single word from their mouth. Think you can beat that?
I'm sure Master Reuven would be willing to try to match this feat if you wish to offer yourself up.
Rather not. I'd just rather make sure that we're going to be prepared when they show up. Because they're coming.
He turns again to the sergeant. Take them to the Order. Determine the true meaning for their arrival and the validity of their claims.
I mean, we can do it right. We can do it right here if you really want.
That kind of power is not the kind of power I wield.
I do.
You see, he looks at you.
Like you said, you know who I am. You know who I follow. And you know the importance of truth. You can imagine it's no small leap of logic to assume that I have the capability to discover the truth. You may not trust my companions. You may not trust their heritage. But you seem like a wise enough lord and person to understand that someone like myself would not be here if it wasn't important.
I have respect for your Lord of Light. He has seen great favour on our city in the time it has stood. But I cannot, if you'll excuse me saying, risk the fate of my city and my people on unfounded claims. Take them to the Order. Determine the truth of their arrival. If I am to be proven wrong, and there is some truth in this, it goes without saying, Sergeant, that you will have a very busy night. He looks across the five of you. And then, almost quite coldly, just looks at each of you as he speaks and just says, "And if it is to be found, they have arrived here under false pretenses of any type. Kill them, Sergeant. We'll put their honour to the test." The Lord stands up. He sort of goes to leave the room. As just before he reaches the doorway, he stops and he turns back around. And he looks over at you, Elwyn. And he sort of looks at you for a moment, meets your eyes, and sort of just looks into you for a moment, then just slowly shakes his head. "I'll never understand why some of our brethren align themselves with those that saw so many of ours fall. Disappointing." And he turns around and walks out of the room. The sergeant looks at the group and tells you, "We can go to the Order now, and on the Lord's command, they will determine the truth of your arrival here. As one who is convinced by your story, I truly hope you will not make me look a fool in front of my peers."
Yep.
Yeah, and he ushers each of you to stand. Head out down to a dock just at the rear of the palace. You get onto a small boat, and you are taken over towards that island you could see in the middle of the lake in the city. you can see there are these like I say, these 5 large turrets reaching up into the sky. And yeah, you're taken over. The boat docks on this sort of jetty on the island itself. And as you arrive here, there's a couple of elven guards waiting immediately. Looks like they are sort of waiting your arrival. They greet the sergeant and lead each your whole group through into the center of these 5 turrets. So there's 4 turrets sit almost like a rectangular shape. In the middle there was one slightly larger turret that sits in the middle. Each of them essentially large towers. There is a single, just a ground floor, building that seems to, hook up the towers around. But each of them also looks to have its own entrance. And they stand far above the sort of smaller building that connects them all. You get led through the grounds, these nice garden area, into a chamber which looks to be like a meeting room. It's like another long table, quite a lot of seats in this particular room. There's actually 3 of these long tables. Between them there are seats for at least 30, maybe even close to 40 people. And as you arrive, there's already a number of people sat in here, all elven. You see a mix of sort of traditional elves. There are 3 drow mixed in with this group as well. As you are led in, these elves they are sort of mid conversation. Their conversation quite quickly sort of stops and dies down as you're led in. And you are stood in the centre of this room, sort of basically between these 3 long tables. And this sergeant that's led you here stops and says, "Council, the High Lord has asked that you are to determine the truth of the nature of these guests' arrival. They make some bold claims, which I personally have concerns about. If you see any truth in them, I think it is of great importance that we determine this as soon as possible." One of the elves, a female elf, immediately sort of gestures for the sergeant to stop. She remains seated at the long table in front of you. She speaks out and she asks, "5 travellers arrive in our city tonight and demand an audience with the Lord. You now find yourselves in front of the Council of 8. We are the strongest users and experts in the schools of magic that could be found anywhere on this plane. My name is Fladrin Zilhana. I am the Master of Conjuration. To my left, Reuven Ilrora, the Master of Necromancy. Gordwin Vendi, Master of Evocation. Alicia Zumrick, Master of Abjuration." She points over to her right. Kaelessa Laxis, the Master of Transmutation. Charlie Adalin, the Master of Divination. Ilarian Orifine, Master of Enchantment. And Arif Norlana, the Master of Illusion. Tell us, what is your reason for arriving here? You claim you are warning of attack?
Yes. There is somebody on their way to the city with the power to raise it to the ground. We escaped from their thrall and came to warn the city as soon as we could.
You can see the council, a few of them begin sort of murmuring. They sort of lean over, whispering to one another's ears. One of them speaks up. A female drow speaks up. I'm the master of divination. Your claims. You're happy for them to be tested?
Absolutely.
She gestures. She begins gesturing with her hand. Points out in your direction. Arthur,
Yo.
you sense an attempt of divination magic to be cast upon you. Do you wish to make a save, or are you willing to allow this?
No, I allow it.
Okay. And you almost get the physical sense, almost of someone rifling through your thoughts, flicking through them like pieces of paper.
I attempt, as I feel this rushing kind of through my head, I attempt to recall the thoughts and the information about the interactions I've had with Zerial to make it even easier.
Yeah. She carries on and she stops gesturing with her hand. She stops. She puts her hand to her temple for a moment. Then she turns round to some of the other elves sat at these tables, and she says, "Their claims are true. They have travelled with this entity. It calls itself the Uniter. They've travelled with it willingly. They've taken its commands, but this one, this armoured follower of the Lord of Light, you wish to kill your Uniter, do you not?
I do.
And yet you
Yes.
willingly followed them.
Not willingly.
That's not what your memories tell me.
The magic that we were under, whatever it was, has changed or affected our minds. Because for the, what was it, 2 weeks? For the time that we followed the Uniter, it was the correct thing in my mind, to do. That person, that thing, got me to renounce my own god. Willingly.
Your companions, each of you would agree to this, to have your thoughts and your memories validified. You will be able to hide nothing from me, if you are willing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hurt with it.
She smiles. There's a little bit of warmth to her, to expression as she sort of responds, and she quite reassuring. She tells you it will not hurt at all. The feeling can be jarring to some, but if you have truly nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear.
All right, as you like it.
Just don't resist, John. Just let it in.
She gestures in your direction, Jean. Elwyn stood alongside both of you. Both, you want to make a save, or you willingly fail the save?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Elwyn?
Yeah, I'll fail it.
Yeah.
And I'll start thinking about where the Garbonoids and all that bottom when Z died and before he died in the book.
Yeah.
So I'll try and give him extra information. And even in my interaction with the Slard. Even the bit I didn't want to share.
Yeah, you both, again, similar to Arthur, it's almost like you can physically feel someone moving their hand through your memories. It's almost like your memories suddenly come to the forefront of your mind, almost as if they're being moved there unwillingly as they get sort of tossed around and rifled through. Again, she stops the gesturing and she lowers her hands and says, They come with truth. We must discuss this entity. If what they have seen is true and what they believe is true, then we have much to fear. Another one of the elves kind of speaks up at this point and takes over. A male elf with long blonde hair. My name is Master Reuven, the Master of Necromancy. This entity you have travelled with, what kind of power level do you believe it to possess? Before you get a chance to respond, Charlia, the Master of Divination, speaks up immediately. And she tells them there is great power in this entity. They have seen it use all forms of magic, all schools of magic. The very strongest of its potencies. Even you, Master Reuven, with all due respect, you could learn a thing or two. You can see Master Reuven actually smiles back at Charlia as she says this. Almost adds like a moment of levity. He says, I look forward to being challenged. It's been a lifetime since one with my knowledge has even been nearby. This creature, this entity, you believe its intentions are to come here seeking power? What kind of power do you believe they seek?
It's the belief of this entity that your city holds an artifact of great power and importance to them, and they are coming here to claim it.
Charlie,
a magic ring.
Yeah. As you say it, there is a bit of a murmur amongst this group of 8 elves. Master Reuven, the Master of Necromancy, he immediately sort of speaks up and he says, the ring of Corin was gifted to the people of Abahan thousands of years ago as a symbol of our Lord's leadership.
And he intends to claim it as a symbol of their leadership.
What do you believe this entity to know about the ring? What is their intention? If you don't know, that's entirely fine.
To add its power to the ring's power to their own and continue their onslaught.
You are true of heart. You have come here with our open and honest intentions. It is only fair that we treat you in kind. The ring is just one of a number. The rings of Corin were gifted to kings and lords and their equivalents across Thentos. Some believe the rings were forged from the very metals of the weapon Tyr used to strike down the old gods.
Knew it.
The precise number of these rings is unknown, but each was gifted to these kings and leaders by a group calling themselves the followers of Corin. They told the recipients that the rings would be a symbol of the need for rulers in the world, the need for leaders, and that one day these rings would beckon the greatest of those wearers to meet with the very life force of Thentos itself, the beating heart that gave life to everything. As he's telling you this, while the other elves speaks up, another female elf, you recognise her. This was Kalesa, the Master of Transmutation. She almost interrupts. Some believe that, yes. But the Magi, we believe the followers of Corin are not the simple priests they made themselves out to be. We are most untrusting of their intentions with these rings. And for that reason, the ring that was gifted to our tribe has long been locked away in one of the many pocket dimensions within the towers of the Order. This group, they claim to be simple priests and followers of an altruistic nature, but we have our doubts.
I think you'd be quite frankly mad not to.
Your leader, your entity, have they ever spoke of these followers? Have they ever spoke of Corin?
Yes. I think the entity is Corin, or a representative of Corin.
Charlia, the Master of Divination, speaks up again. Do you object to the truth of your statements being verified?
I object to being manipulated with magic.
There's no manipulation intended. This is a means of definitively proving your intentions. Your friends were comfortable to do so, and they have come to no harm.
Make it quick.
So be it. She gestures, and you can feel the attempt. Willingly fail or saving throw is your choice.
I think saving throw. I don't want.
Fair enough.
You bastard. You're gonna get us all killed.
hang on, that's the wrong thing. Let's get from you a wisdom save.
Oh, well, that's that. Don't worry, then we're fine.
Nice.
Well,
It's like she doesn't even sense your attempt to fight
No.
it back. Yeah, Carl, you feel the same thing. You feel this physical movement of your memories, and you see your encounters with the Uniter sort of flash in front of you quite swiftly. You see as Charlia rifles through your memories of traveling with Z. Rifles through your memories and stops at one in particular. And you are deep in the memory now of being stood in Marshall Folk inside the shop belonging to Z's parents, delivering the news of what had happened to Z, or as much detail as you shared at the time. And then it all goes, and you have full control of your memories again. Charlia, she doesn't say anything.
Can I just, for my own conspiracy theory brain, can I just confirm Charlie was her first name, wasn't it?
Yes.
What was the last name?
Dalen.
Yeah, I thought so. Cool.
Yeah, whereas each of the others, she sort of stopped and immediately sort of gave verification to their claims. Charlia stops. She sits quietly. She has like two of her fingers to her temple. The elf sat next to her, Kalesa, the master of transmutation. You see, she leans over and whispers something. Charlie almost sort of shakes her head, sort of shakes something out of her head. She looks up at you now, Carl. He's
glaring back at her.
He speaks the truth. He carries guilt. So much guilt. He's physically weighed down by the guilt of his actions and his failures. And she almost sort of, her eyes almost like screw up a little bit as she's sort of trying to get a read on you. And then she just stops and outs and just asks the question. Why did you not tell your friend's parents the full truth of what happened?
I'm.
Were you afraid to? You were afraid to see them suffer as you did?
I'm so many things. But I am not capable of breaking another parent's heart.
He speaks truthfully. There's a moment of sort of not silence, but the council are sort of, you see these 8 masters of the schools of magic sort of discussing, talking amongst themselves, murmuring. Finally, the elf that initially spoke to you, Flardrin, the master of conjuration, sort of ushers for some quiet and some sort of control of this situation, speaks up. We've determined the truth in their claims. We understand now the gravity of the threat this poses. There are many avenues of discussion to be had, but we must act fast and swiftly. The Lord will act upon our advice and take the decisions made in this chamber, if we are able to tell him they are for the right reasons, but we must choose wisely. If this entity is truly as powerful as we believe it could be, no amount of soldiers will adequately combat it. Not without proper preparation. Tondrafsil is our best hope, but Tondrafsil alone does not guarantee success. We need to strongly discuss now contingencies. There are decisions to be made now in this room amongst the 8 of us of whether the safety of that ring is worth more than the safety of every person in this city. And that is a heavy decision to make. I would not look down or lose favour for anybody amongst this council that does not want to go ahead and wishes to abstain from this decision. But a decision must be made. The 8 of them begin sort of debating, speaking amongst themselves again. The sergeant that led you here initially walks over at this point. Kind of isn't looking happy, but looks kind of redeemed, I guess. You can see that clearly is quite glad that your claims and that his faith in your claims have kind of been proven correct. He walks over, he speaks to you as a group, and he says, I'm glad, but I'm concerned. The Council of 8, they are the strongest users of the schools of magic. If they are concerned in debate, then we have much to fear. How long do you believe we have?
Before daybreak. I think.
Yeah. If you're lucky, you've got 6 hours.
And what would you
What about
suggest?
is Nick's in the room?
You hear next.
Yeah.
Does Nick look happy that he was the only one that didn't have his mind checked? Like he was hiding at the time that no one could see him.
Were you hiding in particular, Nix?
No, not really.
Just hiding.
The sergeant asks you, the ring, what would you suggest? What do you believe is the right thing for us to do? Do we stand and defend a city? Sacrifice however many lives for the sake of a ring?
No. Destroy it.
Destroy it.
Or send it as far the fuck away from here as you can.
That could be an option.
You'd have to have someone to take it, of course, and that'd be a suicide mission, but...
The sergeant, as you say that, the sergeant speaks up and immediately sort of calls over to the council and kind of interrupts them and says, Masters, if I may, I'm no expert in the arcane, and I do not seek to disrespect any of you by telling you what the right course of action is here. But these people, in the short time I have been with them, they've proven themselves. They've proven themselves to be honest and to be here with true intentions. I believe that their opinions on this should at least be heard. They just made a very good suggestion that if our fear is that this uniter is headed here for the ring, then the best thing we can do is to ensure the ring is as far away from here as possible. And if that is a one-way trip to save and protect this city, then it would be my honour and my duty. And the council kind of silently look back towards him. Then Reuven, the master of necromancy, speaks up. It's not a plan without its merits. If the ring is gone, if this entity knows the ring is here and knows it is no longer here, then perhaps they would no longer have a reason to attack.
If I may, I agree to an extent, but that plan only works if the ring is somewhere that the Uniter will then be able to go try and get it. You're never going to... Because if you say it's gone, trust me, I've seen this entity's rage. They will burn this city to the ground out of anger. If you say it's here, it's with this entity, they've done this, and it's somewhere they can get to, perhaps you pass that rage.
So you suggest we throw the ring as far as we can, and then we race this entity for it?
I suggest you move the ring somewhere else that can be protected. But you can't just cast it into some demi-plane somewhere to be lost forever. Because at that point you hold no leverage. And you will just be destroyed. That's just my opinion, of course. I apologise if I'm speaking out of turn.
Charlia speaks up again, the master of divination. If I may, if our intentions are to see that the ring is taken out of the city, then our intention should also be to ensure it stays protected for as long as possible, and in a way we know that the intentions are correct and we know it will be protected properly. If our intention is to save this city and to protect the people of this city, then the ring is best sat with somebody who does not represent this city and does not represent the people in this city. And if that is to be our decision as a council, then may I suggest our best option stands in front of us.
What's everyone else's kind of facial opinions across the council as that's suggested?
Doesn't look like it's the most popular of suggestions. Master Reuven, the Master Necromancy again, immediately speaks out. You suggest, Charlia, that we give a relic that we have been so concerned about for so long to a group that arrived on our doorstep hours ago. A relic we believe is being hunted by an entity whose power we fear. And we are to give it to a group of strays. We are to put the fate of our people and of our city, and if what you say is true, this world, in 5 strangers. We will be considered fools.
Not if it works, you won't.
He turns to you, Arthur. And what is your intention? Where will you take this ring? Where will you run from this uniter of which you are so scared?
Oh, I've never said I'm scared. You won't find those words passing my lips.
Another one of the council speaks out for the first time. Arif, the Master of Illusion. She speaks up. She says, if Charlia has looked into the hearts and the souls of this group, and she believes them to be trustworthy, nobody would know better than her. Honestly, if they've managed to fool our master of divination, then they deserve to make fools of us. If Charlia's proposal is that the ring leaves with this group, then I will back that proposal. Reuven immediately interrupts again. This is outrageous. This is not even on the table for discussion. The choices are simple. The ring stays here. That is not up for debate. The choices are whether we stand and fight or if we flee before this uniter arrives and get as many innocents away now. Those are the only realistic choices on the table.
I mean, make a more suitable battlefield. Maybe a place where we can set more of a trap up, have the ring there, and less civilians to be in the crossfire.
So gone.
Carl kind of looks across. You all seem to be of the opinion that if you're face to face with the Uniter, you can win. I don't think that's an option.
Carl, can I get you to make for me an insight check? What is right with your rolls tonight?
20s and 1s. That's all I've got.
As you say that and you take in their reactions, you do not believe this group think they can win this fight with Uniter. As you deliver that line, their responses, their facial reactions tell you all you need to know. They do not believe that they will win this fight. The sergeant speaks up again at this point. I know I do not have a vote on this council, but as a sergeant of the City Watch, and I believe I speak for the people of the city who live here day to day and whose families live here, if Master Charlia is putting this proposal forth, my belief is the city votes with her. And the people of this city vote with her. If my newfound friends wish to take on such a burden.
It might be the only way. Question is, how far away can you get us?
The excuse me. The one of the other masters speaks up at this point. This is the one that spoke recently, Master Fladrin, the Master of Conjuration. And he almost smiles as you ask the question. How far is far enough? If you could leave here now, where would you want to go? Where is it your group feels you should go?
I'd love, more than anything, to go home, but I fear I cannot put this burden on them. We would have the backing of one of the strongest fighting forces in the plains.
Just to check, that's the Citadel of the Sun.
Correct.
Master Fladrin hears you out. He nods. The Citadel of the Sun is where you believe your next step lies. I can get you there. And for the record, Master Charlie's suggestion has my vote. One of the other elves at this point speaks up, Master Ilarian, the Master of Enchantment, and says, "A decision is being formed. Master Charlia, your proposal has my vote, if this group accepts." Master Charlia actually speaks up now and says, "This proposal, before we go ahead with the proposal you say is mine, I have my own concerns. I have many concerns. But we should address these one by one. I think the best place for us to start is with my own truth. I believe I have a connection to this situation.
Yeah, you do.
This entity, the Uniter, as this group call it, it travelled with them before as a friend. It used a different name. It used my family's name. This entity, this drow, I believe we may have a familial connection. And I believe it is only correct, if that is true, that I had, in the spirit of honesty, put that out there now, that I may not be an unbiased decision maker in this situation, if that be true. I have another concern, though. She points over at Nyx. One member of this group has not yet verified their own thoughts and feelings in this situation. You've been very quiet, human.
Well, I mean, I don't. You can do that weird brain thing on me if you want. I don't really have anything to hide. I'm just with these guys because I want some, like, you know, I want some action.
She gestures out, the hand movements towards you next. Wisdom save, or you can willingly fail.
Willingly fair, not just like.
Okay.
Oh, no backbone.
I'll think about how the, you know, yeah, everything.
Yeah, and you, same as the others, you can just, again, that physical sense of your memories being moved around and piled on top of each other as somebody is just looking through them, like pictures in an album almost, just flicking through the ones that they find interesting. Similar to Carl, they stop on one all of a sudden. You are vividly in that memory, and you're there. You're in Griffin still. You're speaking to Willow. Willow is telling you about a contract that's been put in place, a target for you to dispose of. But this one will require a high level of discretion. Willow then slows down and tells you this will require a high level of disguise. And then you're back. You're fine. Master Charlia, she lowers her hands from her temples. We were right to be concerned. There is a liar amongst this group. Nyx Shura, you are not who you claim to be. Why do you lie?
What? What do you mean? What?
I've looked into the heart of each one of your companions. Each of them are here with true intentions and honesty. They allowed all of their secrets to be seen. And in doing so, I can see that they have shared all of those secrets with one another. But you are not here with the same intentions. You lie to your own friends.
Don't?
You are not who you claim to be. I've seen your true form. Why do you walk among them, hidden?
Divine sense?
Hey?
I flash divine sense?
Yeah, sure.
Don't think what I'm thinking is going to pop up on it, but
You get no reading of celestial fiends or undead, no.
Nyx, what are they on about?
I don't know. I'm as confused as you are.
And that's the truth.
I don't see what this has got to do with anything.
I do. If he's not being honest with us, what if his target is one of us?
If his target was one of us, wouldn't he have tried by now?
He says he hasn't been trying.
I was.
What this just feels like something to sow distrust. This is what people do.
Charlie interrupts you. When you say what people do, why don't you say what you mean? You mean what elves do. You still have the same bitterness inside you. You hide it better now, but you still have it.
You said that you'd seen my soul. If you really had, you'd know that I don't hate elves, but I do hate magic.
You
Everything.
say that.
Everything that you're talking about now is because of people's pursuit of magic. None of you can see an avenue to power without grasping it. None of you can see an opportunity to bend the basic laws of nature without asking yourselves, how can I do that? All it does is destroy. Some of you paint it. You sit here in your council rooms with your robes and your titles, pretending that you're, I don't know, scholars and that you're discovering the ancient truths, when in reality you are just seeing how far you can push this power. I don't know how you can sit there and look at people that have been through what we've been through and then start to question our motives.
Haven't we questioned its motives from the start?
Shut up.
The whole council fall silent and listen to what you've just said. Charlie finally speaks up. As long as this member of your party cannot be honest with your group, I do not vote for the ring to leave with this group. Not until truth becomes the core of their group.
Yeah, Nick, you sure you don't know what's going on here? This person what's seen your brain seemed awfully convinced that you've got something amiss.
Charlie speaks again. He is here with true intentions. He means to help your group. I don't doubt that. But he is not who he tells you he is. And I do not believe it is my responsibility to force the truth, only to discern it and understand it.
I just
Can I
realised I'm
cast
muted.
a spell? Yes, you are. Yeah. Do you have
Okay.
restraints?
I was gonna say I said fine, and I don't know what the actual true form is, to be honest, but yeah.
What do you want to do next?
I don't know, what is the true form? I don't know.
You don't know, you're right, you don't know.
I say to I don't know what my true form is. I don't know. This is. Yeah, I don't know any other forms.
She's very lightly smiles back at you, Nix. I know you do not know your true form.
Well, how am I supposed to show you my true form? You said, "What's your true form?" So, how am I supposed to show you it?
The showing of the true form isn't what concerns me. What concerns me is that if you are to travel with this group and with this ring, they should at least understand who they travel with.
I, for one, know who I travel with. I travel with the person who came and helped me rescue the body of a fallen comrade. I
Can I
came.
cast a spell? Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Is it right if I cast a spell?
Yeah,
I'm just casting magic.
detect magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing in front of all these guys in their suits.
Yeah, you get the readings of the various magic magic items the party have. There is quite a heavy sense of magic in this room. In terms of Nyx themselves, which I'm assuming is your main sort of target, you're trying to the gauntlet on his wrist is a magic item. I think you guys are already aware of that anyway. But in terms of, other than that, there doesn't seem to be any kind of spells affect him, any kind of magic effects, nothing like that, no. Nothing magical at all.
What is the gauntlet?
Summons a gun, right?
Okay.
The gauntlet of misfire.
Yeah.
Could I, you know, could I shape change into her?
You can shape change into anything you want.
Can I shape change into what's her name, Charlie, and say, "Is this what you wanted?"
Into Charlia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you will watch as Nyx physically changes shape. The facial features and the general sort of tone of the shape of the body all sort of fall away almost into nothingness in this sort of like, you think of like Play-Doh, just this sort of general humanoid shape before reforming into a perfect match of Charlie Adalin, the master of divination. Your detect magic, Jahan, picks up nothing. This is not magic.
Thanks.
Was this basically something we've basically seen before? Was it the same as a certain slang?
You've seen a very similar change occur in front of you before, yes.
Nix, had we met before you turned up when we got Warhorse's body? Did you meet us before then?
No.
He came to us and told us about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
If it helps, you guys have been in the same room with Nyx and Slard. Yeah.
I was going to say I've been in the same room as both.
Yeah, I thought we had.
I was just thinking,
Yeah.
was Nix a Slard that killed the High Lord?
Certainly, it was a different person who claimed to have done it.
Claimed.
Whether or not that is actually, yeah, he may be, but yeah.
Nix killed the High Lord.
Yeah.
So, if you're here on a job from Or whoever it was. Actually, no, I don't know any of this, do I? So
Oh, I
that was
guess
all
not
that's in
technically.
his head.
Said,
Yeah.
really.
So I'll shut up.
Charlie looks at you, Nix. And again, she actually smiles. She says, "Why did you hide this from your friends for so long?"
I didn't know if they wouldn't have liked me, or they would have like, I don't know, cast me out.
Is that what you fear?
Yeah, because then I wouldn't have anywhere to go, because I'd be stuck here, and I'd have to just sink away into. Well, yeah.
Charlie turns to the rest of the council at this point and says, "There is truth in this group. I propose we give them the ring and we give them an exit from this city. And we send with them every wish we can that when this uniter catches up with them, they are better prepared than we are right now." Fladrin, Master of Conjuration, speaks up at this point. "There are enough votes on the council for this to happen, but we cannot force this onto this group. It must be their decision as well." This was your suggestion that the ring should leave. And what do you propose from there?
I don't believe the Uniter has a way of getting to my home by any normal means.
This is not the only ring.
This is the problem. You're saying there's lots of rings.
That is true.
But this is one that they know of. So,
How many do you know of?
Fladrin looks amongst the council, almost waiting to see if he should speak up. And when nobody stops him, he tells you, "We are aware of the existence of at least 3 such rings, but our belief from what these priests, these followers of Corin, told our ancestors, they made many more."
do all of you know the locations of those rings?
We know of 2 others. One sits with the orcs in Jakrash. And the other sits much closer to home than you may have ever realized. The other ring sits on the finger of your emperor in Austria.
Random question, son. Did I know about the one that Orcs had in the crash?
No, this means nothing to you.
Cool. Because obviously I was with groups of core in that area and I was just going around killing Orcs.
Fladrin speaks up again at this point. Charlia, perhaps you can get us a clear understanding on this Uniter, where they are now and what their intentions are, how long we have. Charlie responds that she can attempt to scry on this Uniter, and watch in on them now.
I can't imagine that would go wrong.
Scrying never goes wrong. She stands and she makes just keeps going round, makes a circular motion with her hand, and just below her hand as she does it, a pool of water appears, just floating in the air. And she gestures around it, continues gesturing, and the water takes on essentially like a visual. You can see she at first it begins just taking form slowly. She describes what she's seeing, but as she describes it, it becomes more clear and into focus. She can see this Uniter stood alongside a dragon. The Uniter is angry. Really angry. You can see Zervil shouting, but you can't hear anything. He is screaming some kind of abuse at 3 people knelt down before him. Charlia begins narrating and can tell you. She tells you he's angry at them. They let you go. They should have had a closer watch on your group. He's so angry. You can see as she's narrating, Z steps forward towards the 2 humans that are knelt down, and just this venomous anger shouts and then points at them. And as he does so, you see this claw swipe down from Leo, the sand dragon, and just grabs both of the humans in one swoop and pretty much chucks them up into the air, and then just this jaw snaps forward and grabs them both out of the air. You then see Z step in front of Murdery, and he begins this long tirade of abuse and anger and venom. And she doesn't narrate it directly, but she tells you he's so angry. He hates this. He calls it a creature. He calls it an abomination, and it pleads with him for mercy. It pleads with him not to punish it, and that it will do whatever is neat. And then you see Z stops screaming and stops shouting. And you can just about see the shape of Murdery knelt down in front of him. And there's like sobbing and like fear in Murdery's scarred face. And then Z turns and looks directly back through this scrying.
Yeah.
And Charlie, you see, she sort of grasps her head, and he's looking. He can see, and she immediately begins gesturing with her hands, almost as if she's trying to reverse whatever she has opened up. Z moves, just edges slightly closer to the scrying pool, and he looks straight through, and you can see he sort of looks around the room and stops as he meets your group stood in the middle of the room. Charlie just screams out, "He knows where we are!" And the pool of water just drops down to the ground, dissipates immediately. He reached back through. He reached into my mind. He knows where we are. He knows our numbers, our weaknesses. He knows everything I know and everything we have discussed. We have however long it will take him to fly from where he is to this city.
We have 30 minutes then. If that.
He knows of the ring and he knows of our plan. We must prepare the city to defend itself, and we must make a decision now of what we do next. Fladrin speaks up at this point. He turns, he speaks to the sergeant, and begins speaking to some of the other members of the council, and he says, a decision has been made. Sergeant, prepare all the forces you can. I suggest, if Tondrafsil's whereabouts are not known now, we try to find him. As for this group, we cannot force anything upon you at this point. If you wish to stand and fight with us, then you can stand and fight with us. If you think the better choice is to take this ring now and leave, then the council stands alongside you in that choice. But it must be your choice.
The United can't get the ring.
The United now knows my one safe suggestion as to where we could take the ring.
I see this as a great place to try and fight him.
How many soldiers do you have in the city?
The sergeant speaks up. We have maybe 200 trained men.
$200?
Yeah.
What about the order? The order? The Order of Wizards? Whatever you are.
The Order of the Magi.
How many spellcasters do you have that are battle ready?
8.
Uh,
She's not fell.
30 to 40. We have numbers. If this is to be a battle of attrition, then let it be so.
Can you protect your city from the power of the United's will?
This is the issue. You need something to shield your minds to ensure you aren't taken over.
What do you know about it? How was he doing it?
It's like he didn't do anything. He just stood there and we lost all control. We lost all will.
Not all of us.
Not all of us. This is true.
Can you describe what happened, Nix?
I mean, we're all in that, like...
And are you still? Does Nick still look like the elf?
I don't know,
No,
that's
I've
up to
probably
Nix.
changed back. I've changed back, probably. But yeah, you all kind of just stood, like, we all stood in the, like, square area, and then he, like, did this, well, I don't even know what he did, to be honest, but he did something, and then you all just all started listening to him. And didn't question anything he said. Yeah.
From what we've seen, he can exert that will over hundreds of people at once.
I mean, he's got his whole city, right?
He had a city under his control. At the very least, he had the people in charge of that city under his direct control.
Honestly, I think he struggled to control the whole city. But
I think that's why things slip through, isn't it?
Yeah, he had a absolute control over things within his immediate surroundings. Definitely, probably further. There is a limit to his ability to control, but I don't know what it is. Is the sergeant still here?
Yeah.
Carl will turn to the sergeant. You're the city guard. You're going to stay and defend the city. But I beg you, get the word out. Anyone who can leave should leave now.
Agreed. Should be a widespread evacuation.
This is not a fight that anyone is going to win. Your only hope is that he follows us.
Yeah. He nods and he says, I feel it was fate that I was the one that met you this evening. You've proven yourselves to be truthful and of good heart. I only hope that same fate means we will see each other again, hopefully as soon as possible. And he nods. He goes to leave, and he stops, and he says, my name was Haldir, by the way. If I am to die tonight protecting this city, then I would like my friends to know my name. And he turns and leaves. Fladrin, the master of conjuration, he urges some of the other members of the order to start leaving and making whatever preparations need to be made for the potential arrival of the Uniter. And then he turns to the group and says, we do not have much time. We need to decide what your course of action is to be.
Otto?
Yep.
Could the Citadel send us somewhere else?
Citadel sent me here. I'm not sure how wide-ranged their capabilities would be. They send where the will of the light decides.
Yeah.
What does the will of the light decide for this moment?
I hate that we're thinking of running.
On that note, is it Kalila? The one of the 8 mages.
Charlia.
Chalala. So you were related to our friend Z?
We share a name, and we share the same ancestry.
Oh, so you're not like... Oh, I thought you may have been maybe his mum or father's father, like the grandmother.
This Zerviel, he means nothing to me that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
But the way he was able to look back through my scrying portal, perhaps we are connected in some way.
Alright. I got it wrong. Thought you may have been related. But you are not.
think they might be.
Just to be clear, says Carl, staring at her, Ziriel and the Uniter are not the same.
She nods and she says, having seen your recollections, I believe you're correct.
Well, if there's a way you wanted to send a message to Zeviel's parents of some sort, I have a way of saying maybe a possible apology or a goodbye, if need be, and I'll have a sending stone in my hand.
What do you want to do?
But I think it'd be a good point to leave it right now because it's like 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Selfishly, I would definitely like a decision.
Yeah. I think we back in Austral, we would, if someone was trying to evade us, they would often head into an inn and then immediately head back out somewhere else on the hope to lose us. Maybe that's what we should do.
You think we go to the Citadel and then immediately ask them to send us somewhere else?
Yeah. And that way it will take the Uniter longer to find us.
I have an idea for the direction after if we sit out where to go.
Let's not discuss that.
Here, I know. But if we do go sit out, I think I know I'll follow in the direction.
I think we might be having similar thoughts.
Interesting. So that's what I vote we do.
You vote we run. Carl Garbin is going to run away from a fight.
I said this is not a fight.
It is if you try.
Did you try? Did you try while you were denouncing your god?
No, I did not. He's not going to get the slip on us like that twice.
You guys running?
That's my vote.
Nix?
Not running. Tactical retreat.
Okay. Nix?
I don't mind. Whichever one would be, well, I mean, better, I guess. If I have to fight, I'll fight. But you know, it doesn't seem like the more, you know, yeah,
Doesn't seem like a winnable fight.
yeah.
Just, if we start running now, when do we stop running?
When we have the strength to beat him, I guess.
But at least now we're in a city with defences. With
Carnoust
other
was a city
people
with
around
defences.
us. Carnoust didn't have a group of the 8 strongest mages on this side of the world.
Are they the 8 strongest, or are they just 8 wisest?
When you're a wizard, the cleverness kind of is the strength. I just don't see us. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to find ourselves with better odds for this fight than we have right now.
I think you've got it wrong. I don't think this is a fight. If the Uniter needs these rings to achieve their aims, then let's just take the rings off the table.
To make things interesting, I'm going to say fight with Artur and leave the decision to Nyx.
Go on then, Nyx. It's your choice then.
Why do you have to leave that up to me?
Because I need to know what I'm prepping, basically.
If we run, we'll kind of never really stop, right? So, I mean, this is our last chance to stop them. We're not going to come across, more power.
I mean,
No,
or we go to the Citadel and we ask for help.
that could work.
Clearly, there was some kind of intention to have this situation dealt with by Lathander. So if we go there to ask for help, then perhaps we may be able to. I can seek an audience with one of the elders of the Citadel, and potentially they can help us.
But he'll get here. How long would it take you to do that? Because we pretty much have half an hour, right?
We have as much time as we need once we're sent away from this place.
We have until he finds us.
Or we have until the count of 5.
He won't be able to get to the Citadel.
Do you manage to get through that? Well, see through that portal thing?
You can't travel across the plains without something attuned to that plane. The only reason we'd be able to get to the Citadel is because I'm from the Citadel. I believe. I don't believe this creature is of the plane of the god of light by any means.
There is a large, loud, draconic roar.
Oh, fuck.
Fladrin stands up urgently and says, "Decision."
Yeah.
He turns to you, Carl. You brought your group here and you spoke for your group.
Give me the ring.
Okay. Fladrin turns to the last of the masters that's still in the room and tells them, I can get them to the Citadel. I'll take care of that. Be sure that the defences stand as long as possible. He turns to your group and urges, follow me. We need to go below ground. And that's where we'll end things.
I want to fight him so bad.
Did she take the extended stone off me to send a message?
Oh, what it was, you were actually offering it over. Ah, sorry. I thought you were... For some reason, I thought you were speaking to Carl when you were offering that around.
No, because I've like the thing that she's related to Z, and I was there implying that Z's parents are her children or child.
No, she will...
Did you want a goodbye message or not?
She will politely
Or an
decline
apology.
your message, your offer. Cool. I will perhaps wait for the yellow-bellied runaways.
I was up for a fight.
Sure
Hey,
you were.
I voted to stay and fight.
Sure you were.
I don't think it's running away. It's just choosing the battle. We can't win this.
Well, I don't know.
Carl that wanted to run away.
Yeah, Carl's the wimp.
Carl wants to destroy the ring.
Yeah, same.
Artur wants to use the ring.
Yeah, that's my only concern with taking it to the Citadel. But
Big, powerful ring.
Are
that's
the
it.
rings themselves magical? I'm assuming they are.
I did well, had he placed it? I mean, I'm still considering it. I guess if he places it in my hand, I'm considering putting it on, and wishing for something.
I say I cannot definitively answer this because you haven't actually encountered one yet.
Yeah.
Oh, we've not got one yet. Sorry.
No.
I thought there was
he's-
one in
he
the
is- No, he's leading us to it.
to it there. Right. Sorry, I thought it was already there.
Ah,
Because
right,
if it had appeared, then Nyx would have revealed his true form and taken it.
yeah.
Is what I assume is happening.
I'm just wondering if Nyx has been sent in to assassinate Carl.
Again, he's had his chance.
Yeah, I wouldn't assassinate Carl because I would just die.
Nyx is just a nice, misunderstood, assassinating shapeshifter.
Yeah.
I did rather like the irony of the what I think has been the most honest member of the party being accused of having secrets.
Yeah, because a shapeshifter, he don't even know what race he is.
At no point did any of us say, "Oh, by the way, are you a shapeshifter?"
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That was never my guess.
No, I think you could have given me 100 guesses and I wouldn't have got that one.
My guess was he was sent to kill maybe one of us or get some information from one of us.
Well, that's still possible.
That still might be the case.
Wasn't there there was a race of shape-shifting stuff that Cormac was asking about. So what was that? What was that code?
But
No, like a humanoidy one. I forgot. I looked them up. They look quite cool. I can't remember what they're called.
Changelings.
Changelings, something like that.
Yeah, changing is the
The shape-shifting thing. Or made me think of the guy from Deep Space Nine. Or in fact,
How frustrating to have changed things in your party and never know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it
imagine
might all
that. That'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
But,
yeah, cool.
that was well, I found it really quite stressful. Very good.
I loved it.
Tremendous.
I would applaud your energy, Sam.
I purposely wanted to mess with your like preconceptions. I think a little bit because I'm like it felt obvious that this was going to be a big battle session. So I kind of wanted to mess with that and try and drag some tension out for as long as possible, just to, I don't know, amuse myself, I guess. If it helps to drag that tension out any further, I can't play next Wednesday.
You bastard.
Well, I don't know that we need you. I mean, we could quite happily do 2 hours of us arguing on the way down the stairs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Without any problem.
Yeah, Libby's got her brother visiting, and they're doing something next Wednesday evening, so I'm not available, unfortunately. If people want to play another night, then by all means. If not, then we can always just pick up the week after. All good.
Yeah. I'm. Oh, next week I'm pretty much available. I think I can be.
Argue amongst yourselves. I mean, obviously, like depends on Shane's work stuff as well.
I am free Tuesday, and I would basically be free Thursday because I finish at 7 o'clock, and I'd get here about 7:10, 7:15. So I could do Tuesday or Thursday.
I mean, I can do either. If people want to, that's cool. If not, obviously we can just rain check for the following week. But we can.
It is Valentine's.
Oh, that's true. Tuesday's Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't play D&D that day.
For people that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're still in a happy period of relationship, Jake. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, mate.
But yeah,
Either of them.
I can do Thursday, definitely.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, we'll discuss it on Messenger. If people want to, then awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Oh.
I'm gonna dash and grab something to eat.
Very good fun. Thanks, Sam.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll
cheers.
catch you later
Thank
on.
you very much. Night.